All right, it is good to have you. It's a Good Morning Anambra show. And this morning, there are so many things going on at the same time in our nation, Nigeria. And these things mostly affect the common man on the streets of our nation. Today you hear one thing, the next minute you hear another thing. Now we are encouraged to always put our money in the bank, and of course many Nigerians are going to banks on a daily basis, depositing their money, withdrawing, and of course doing so many other things to the bank. Now the question is, are these financial institutions actually living up to their responsibilities in terms of helping Nigerians save their money and, of course, to be useful for them when they need them? And the question we have come with on Good Morning Anambra today is, financial institutions shortchanging Nigerians? Are they really shortchanging us? Well, we have an expert in the studio this morning to help us look at some of these things that happen in the bank and the way it affects us, to really understand whether they are shortchanging Nigerians or not. And we'd like to encourage, if you're watching this program, to join us on our Facebook page to drop your own experience or make your own contributions, whether the financial institutions in our nation are actually shortchanging us or not. I have in the studio this morning AKCOB, I have in the studio Dr. Chukwunonso AKCOB. He is a lecturer, Department of Economics, Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu University, Igbariam, here in Anambra State. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me once again. Good morning.
All right. Now, I don't know. I think we will start by you letting us know the responsibilities of financial institutions to the people they serve.
Very well. Financial institutions are very essential in every economy because they serve as the life wire. They serve as the nerves that transmit resources. Imagine the state of a human body without the nerves and the veins taking blood around the body. So imagine a situation where there is a cut in supply of those linkages between all the organs in the body. And that is the same way financial institutions play a very crucial role in the economy. That's why we call them financial intermediaries, because they are like the go-betweens between every or major sectors or stakeholders in the economy. So anything that affects the financial institution definitely will affect the financial systems, and it will affect the economy as a whole. So basically we are used to the normal providing banking services, demand deposits services, savings services, trying to bridge the gap between those who need funds and those who have funds to provide. And beyond that, they're also an important agent in managing the policy of the monetary authorities, in our own case the central bank. So any policy the central bank wants to implement in the financial system, it goes through. Most of these are financial institutions. So that is why they are very important as financial intermediaries. So when the central bank gives a directive, they are the one to carry it out. And if they fail in that duty, it means that the economy in itself will be in distress. So not just that, they also serve as the link between our financial institutions in the country and in the international market. So whatever happens in terms of international financial flows and the rest, they play a very significant role in that instance. In fact, just to receive money from your friends or your family abroad, what we call remittances, you cannot do that without these financial institutions to come and facilitate that transaction. So they facilitate payments, both locally and internationally, which can boost trade and other economic activities. So their role in the economy are very, very essential.
And do you think they are living up to their responsibilities?
No one is perfect. We're all striving for perfection.
Oh, okay, there could be loopholes. All right, we'll get to that place, I think, in the course of our discussion. Okay, now, when it comes to, I think we'll start with some, ordinary people going to the bank to deposit their funds and the charges that goes with it. Some, I thought that when we begin online banking or online transactions, it's going to be easier on the people, than the charges we inherit. For instance, what is supposed to be taken from a savings account, if you ask me? Because I'm talking from experience now. You have a savings account in a bank, and maybe you withdraw money. You will see a tax. You will see charges, like about 3 different charges come to your phone at the same time. And sometimes you've taken to the social media to complain. Sometimes they stop at a point, and before you know it, it started again. So what do you think is going on with that, or what is wrong with that? Because this is a savings account. Are they supposed to be deducting your money while you are operating savings account?
There are charges made across all categories of accounts, just beyond the savings and even the current accounts, as we call them, and those that are blended in terms of having the features of both current and savings at the same time. Things are hard. So when anything that makes an individual, provided you're a rational individual, anything that makes you, have the impression that you are losing money in this current situation, people will not want to welcome it. Maybe before now, these charges have been ongoing, but people have been overlooking it and but it's appearing that people are becoming more and more conscious of what is happening to their funds. That's why when you go, for instance, when you go online and you see people making comments like, when I transfer 10,000, when somebody transfers 10,000 to me, before I go to my account, that money will be reflecting, I think, 9,300 or 600 or whichever the bank you are operating. So it shows that yes, it calls for concern anyway, because I've lost count of the nomenclature of these charges they make. There's the stamp duty, which is required by law. There's SMS charge. There's monthly maintenance charge. There's what do you call it? There's this one. There's
another one, card maintenance.
Card maintenance.
Use, ATM.
So there are a lot of other, many crazy charges that have sprung up in the day. And again, there are still charges that the central bank has negotiated between banks and telecom operators that provide the network for all these transactions. So these interbank charges and network charges, all these things, when you lump them together, I think the one that got Nigerians almost pissed off was the one they called the cyber security charge that was later suspended, because I'm thinking that thing will still come back.
Are you sure they've not started implementing it? Because this is Nigeria.
So you see, everybody just wakes up and they just throw up one charge or the other. And the thing is that if we had the issue of transparency and accountability in most of these funds, majority will not be reacting or responding the way they have been. But when you marry what is going on in the economy, the harsh economy, with the fact that these monies are being deducted. Okay, when we talk of accountability, this 15 naira, I just mentioned 15 naira stamp duty. Up to today, you and I, we don't know what happens to that money. The last time I heard of it, it was running into trillions. And it was in a debate as to who is collecting what and who is not collecting. Whether it was between, yes, the debate was between NIPOST and FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, as to who is responsible to collect stamp duty. So you see, nobody is even talking of how to maintain or what the money is being used for, or where it's going to. All these things. These are questions that I bet you if you begin to raise today, you will find things that will leave you in shock. But going beyond this, if you see what is happening in the financial system, you see that everybody is just trying to make, ends meet. Everybody is looking for ways, like when I mean everybody, most of the commercial banks, most of the deposit money banks we have, just trying to make ends meet, how to make a profit, satisfy your management and shareholders and the rest. And the more people have complained, in fact, I tell people that when you complain and it appears to you that you have stopped receiving those charges, that's a lie. That's they
may stop sending you SMS.
Some of these banks just begin to implement is to quietly deactivate the SMS alerts for those deductions, and for you to know what you are actually charged or the kind of deductions that are taking place in your account. Just go and request for your bank statement. You request for your bank statements, you'll be amazed. VAT, this one, that one, very funny things on those transactions, and it's very terrible because, like you mentioned, we know the importance of running our transactions, keeping our monies, our holdings in this institution.
Okay, now do we even talk about the interest that are supposed to? I used to receive that alert before.
It's practically impossible to receive an interest on a savings account today.
No, sometimes they may as little as 1,000.
Now let me give you two reasons.
Okay.
One, the issue of what's it called? What makes you qualify for an interest per month? In some banks, they will tell you, if you don't withdraw up to 3 times a month, you qualify for interest. If you don't withdraw up to 5 times a month, you qualify for interest, meaning that they are encouraging you to keep your money with them. So the more
when the money is not in fixed deposit.
That's what I'm saying. So there are this kind of tricky conditions, and within a day, with the kind of economy we are running today, within a day you will withdraw money up to 3-4 times for petty transactions. So once you do that, you're already out of the equation. That's one challenge we have with savings interest. The second challenge is when you mirror your savings with the prevailing rate of inflation in the country, it now makes it look as if it is irrational to keep money in banks again. Yes, that it makes no sense to keep money in banks again. Why? Because if you are encouraging yourself to save, yes, savings is a virtue at the individual level. So if you are encouraging, if individuals are encouraged to save, and the interest rate, I think the last time I checked, there's no bank in Nigeria that offers interest on savings accounts up to 10%. Now, you will get 10%. Let's assume, hypothetically, that you get 10%. Because this savings rate vary per bank. So I cannot give you an actual data.
Okay.
So, but I am sure that there's no bank in Nigeria that gives you up to 10% of your savings with them. So let's assume you get 10% for keeping your money with banks. At the same time, the price of things that is going, the price of goods and services, commodities that are going around in the economy. At the last count, the inflation rate in Nigeria was 32 or so, 34%. It's heading towards 40. Now, you see that it doesn't make any sense to keep money in your bank, because while the money is, giving you returns of just 10%, what that money can buy for you is increasing the value, the price is increasing. Yes, so it makes no sense for you to keep your money in banks. That's why sometimes I encourage people, rather than giving your money in banks, look for an investment, an interest-yielding investment, or something that will give you returns, so that you can be, even if you are not earning above the prevailing inflation rate, but at least you should be at par with the prevailing inflation rate. So anytime you want to use that money, it can match current prices.
Okay, now as an economist, for the benefit of those watching us, I don't know whether you can let us know what it means to keep a fixed deposit account, savings account, or current account. And, you know, for people that are complaining of charges, which one is better for them, you know, to see, you know, whether we can get at, you know, maximizing the reason why we go to banks in the first place.
Fixed deposit accounts are high interest yielding accounts.
Okay.
They are of all the classification of accounts, these accounts are high interest yielding. But the sacrifice or the cost this time around is you will commit to making that funds available in that account, and it is not to be touched for whatever period of time you are able to negotiate with the particular bank. So, in other words, you know, when you bring in, you know, they make it more enticing such that the higher money you deposit in the fixed interest, fixed deposit account, the higher returns you get. So the higher the money you fix, the higher the returns you get. That's why sometimes anytime you hear of any kind of a fraud in Nigeria or any kind of delayed payment, okay, there's their own salaries, their own pension, you hear people just speculate, they have taken the money and put in fixed deposit. So that when the money yields return, they just take the interest and give you the money. So they have raped you in that sense now, which is still what we are discussing today about raping customers. Then demand deposit accounts, that is current accounts, basically they are not necessarily interest yielding, but they are accounts that provide some sort of services that encourage those who are using these accounts for transactional purposes, business purposes. So this kind of accounts are favored those who are running, you know, businesses, high worth individuals. In fact, one major feature is that they are checking accounts. Okay. So these are accounts that you operate checks with, and you know, banks provide this kind of accounts in special attention, because these accounts are accounts that mainly bring in the kind of funds they use to run their business. Okay. Then the savings account is the one for the average individual household, where monies you set aside for precautionary purposes or for demand.
All right. Now, for the topic of our discussion that says whether the financial institutions are actually shortchanging Nigerians or not, let's look at the issue of this ATM card. You know, because when you go to the bank to request for an ATM card, you're asked to fill a form, which you fill at the end of the day. You get it immediately these days. You get your ATM card, and before you get home, you will receive an alert of around 1,000 plus or 2,000 plus as a charge for receiving that card. They now come back to be charging you every month, saying that it is card maintenance. And I was kind of asking, which card are you maintaining? The card I came to pick, you charged me. It's like I bought the card to use from you. So what's the essence of charging me every month as card maintenance? So how do you see that?
You see, these are the things that I think it will be better you invite somebody from the banking sector to come and sit beside.
Okay, so that you...
So when you are asking this kind of questions, but because you know why I'm saying this, they will be in a better position to explain. You know why? Let me give you an example. If I am a lecturer. Okay. Now, when you deal with, you know, the demographics of, you know, the people we interface with, that is students. When you deal with them, you understand, you know, the way they think. Now, do you believe that there is? I can tell you for free that out of every 10 students, or let me say, I don't want to call it youth because there is an age bracket you extend beyond that. But out of every student, undergraduate student you have now, out of every 10, like 7 have accounts with all these fintech companies you have, financial inclusions that are technology driven. Okay. The ones like, what do you call them, Kuda. Okay. You have Money Point, you have OP, and the rest. Why do these students run these accounts? Because I've noticed they will have the normal, customary, conventional bank accounts that you have. But when maybe their parents or their guardian deposit money for them in those accounts, immediately they will move the money to these other banks. And one of the things they tell you is that this one is fast, this one is that there are no charges. And truth be told, the charging components on these banks, fintechs that provide these same services that these banks provide, and are virtually very, very minimal, if not non-existent. So these are one of the things they use to lure these students to themselves. So bring in your money, you can withdraw as many times as you like. At the end of the month, if you qualify for savings, they will give you the savings. There are no restrictions on maintenance or this or that or that. So what is it that these guys are doing that our older generation banks are not doing? I think that should be the question. Because if these things do not exist, I would have said, maybe they really need this money, or there's no way they can run these services without making those charges. But now that you have banks, these smaller banks, fintechs, who are even smaller by size, and we even need the money more than these bigger ones. If the smaller ones can survive without those charges, then what are the bigger ones doing that we don't understand? I think that is the way to look at it. And again, I don't know if you allow me to expand this conversation a bit, because when we say shortchanging, there are other things that Nigerians find difficult in accessing financial services from our banks. So it goes beyond the charges that is ongoing, that we can say is shortchanging Nigerians. What about the ability to access loans? These people are there to make sure that, when you need loanable funds, especially, like I said, you can get the money from them. How can you and I, when we need monies, maybe to buy a piece of land, to buy a vehicle, to do, to take care of one need or the other, does it come to our mind to go to banks to seek for assistance or to seek for financial listing? The answer is no. I know many business people that will tell you they have never gone to banks. And it's not that when you try to educate them, they will tell you, no, leave that, that we are the ones in the field. That we will tell you, that they will not tell you, show me how many people who have made it from taking loans from banks. So there's this mistrust in the system. One, because they don't make it attractive for people to come. Then secondly, what of the interest rates that these guys charge? It's very ridiculous, almost 30% in this economy. How do you expect that person to recover the loans with other collateral demands and the conditions?
I think at this level we'll have to do some comparison, because I know some people that live in developed countries live mostly on loan, even to the level,
mortgage for houses, auto for cars, students,
even to the level of phones. There are credit shops outside there.
Students take loans to go to school.
So it's like, you see our people out there, flourishing in that climb. But here it's a different ball game. So how do we compare?
Here everything is immediate. Nobody has that tendency to give you a mortgage for a house and tell you, come and take a loan, and the next 30 years they'll be like, who will wait for you the next 30 years? Everybody wants to return a profit immediately. Nobody wants it to stagger in the next 10, 20 years. No. But these things are the way how these people can improve, or they go about improving the quality of life of their citizens. So you don't need to start thinking of what corrupt practices or what to do in order to own a house. You just take a mortgage and you're on a plan for the next 30 years. You are covered. You need a car, you take the auto loan for the next 10, 20 years, you are covered. So you see, but here everything is upfront. You just have to make the payment. And these banks, some of them, don't consider this kind of this thing. They are into immediate returns. Even those who have those kind of services, you see that they just come and launch it, but they pay lip service to it. They don't necessarily go into the nitty-gritty of marketing this thing, exposing it, so that Nigerians will be aware.
And you know, the bigger one, or the one that government may look into, is this issue of taking loans to go to school. Now, I have a friend. The son passed a very high school in the UK, and the woman said he doesn't have money to pay for the school. They live there, but they are from Nigeria. Now, the child has to go to school, and at the end of his schooling, he will get a job, and they will be deducting the money little by little without you feeling that something is being taken from you. You won't even know that they are taking anything, depending on how they do it. Now, and you see what is going on presently in Nigeria. You know, I think I read in the news this morning that they will start distribution, this week or something about it. So I don't know, what do you think a government can do in this regard, to help our citizens, to ensure that you're a citizen from this country, you can go to school whether you have money or you don't have money?
To be fair to Mr. President, on the day of his inauguration, he made certain comments that are related to what you just raised now, especially that of the student loan, then that of having loan systems that will not place a very huge burden on Nigerians to acquire basic necessities of life, like shelter, like transportation, and the rest of them. But my question is, since the president made those declarations, what have financial institutions on their own, how have they come together to say, look, in fact, he has been meeting with private sector stakeholders, financial institutions, leaders, and the rest of them. What have they come up with since all those conversations that, okay, we will make this thing available for housing? We can partner with the Federal Mortgage Bank, for instance, to try and see how we can take their services further to people, beyond even the civil servants, to those who have something like a cooperatives or a union that you can work with to provide them these services. So it's not everything the government will do. So let us see how we can be exploring other options, because we know that if we wait for this government, most times you end up disappointed. Okay. They will serve you breakfast.
Okay. Now, from every indication, it seems Nigerians are being exploited by financial institutions.
I'm not even finished.
Wait. There's something that came. There's something that came to mind now. Which I would want us to look into and see whether these are the reason why the financial institutions will want to make their gains immediately or their profits immediately and say it. Now, you know that in Nigeria, we don't have data of Nigerians living in Nigeria. For instance, when a child is born in a hospital, there are records in hospital, but I don't know whether other people that are supposed to collate these data, whether they are doing their work to actually know that the reason I'm bringing this up is that in the developed countries, they know you. There's how the system works. For them to be taking their money little by little, that means your data is in the system. You are known. Do you think this is the reason our own financial institutions, might be saying they want their profits immediately?
Let me give you a simple answer. We are not serious with data in this country. We plan without facts. That is basically what we do, and that is part of the reasons why I said nobody wants to commit to anything long term.
So it could be the reason why
tell me why. You see, there are two challenges. One, tell me why we cannot have a holistic database system in this country, so that everybody, when you go to that database, everything about every individual from the time of birth is captured there. so that we don't force ourselves. When you need to renew driver's license, you will go to road safety for capturing. When you want to do something with your motor vehicle, you go to motor vehicle, whatever, licensing office for capturing. When you want to go, where banks will tell you to do BVN, the other one will tell you to do NIM. All these things, are they not basically duplicating these functions? That is one. So why can't we have a central database? And secondly, the integrity of that database is another issue. You know, of recent, we just came out just last month, or it's not even up to a month, when we had a situation where it was leaked that you could actually purchase information data on any Nigerian you want for as low as 100 naira. Yes, it was trending. And instead of the Nigeria Identity Management Office to come in and try and clear the air, they just came and were trying to rebuff something that they even went as far as buying the information of the minister for communication for as low as 100 naira. So the integrity and the safety of that data, even if we get it, even if we are able to collect it, how well can we secure these things? And that is what is feeding into this information, this thing that we are discussing about shortchanging Nigerians. Part of the reasons why people are losing interest in these conventional banking services and are going back to the days of Isusu and keeping monies at home. Why are people doing that? Because they are not sure of the safety of this system. And even that's part of the shortchanging we are talking about. Even when you go to these banks to complain that you have an issue or the other, how many of them get successfully resolved? Then secondly, how long did it take to get resolved?
All right, we'll get back to that. The program is Good Morning, Anambra, and we are looking at financial institutions. Are they actually shortchanging Nigerians? That's the crux of the matter this morning. We'll take a short break here. When we return, we look at, what actually is the reason why all these things are happening, and of course, the way forward. We'll be right back shortly. Do join us again.
Great news for Anambra Broadcasting Service ABS audience. You can now watch ABS television through any of these ways.
Buy a terrestrial antenna and connect to your television. Search ABS Channel 24 Oka or ABS Channel 27 Onitsha. Install StarTimes cable decoder and search ABS Channel 113. Install Metro Digital cable decoder and search ABS Channel 29.
Watch ABS TV on your smart TV or smartphone by downloading Anambra Broadcasting Service app on Google Play Store. Also watch via ABS Facebook page at ABS Radio Television and ABS YouTube page at ABS Television Oka.
ABS TV is now also on satellite. You can watch us from anywhere in Nigeria and other African countries. Simply install our TV decoder brand and tune to channel 315, or install any free-to-air satellite decoder and search for ABS TV.
Whichever option you choose, stay abreast of breaking news, documentaries, children's shows, talk shows, comedy, sports, movies, and lots more on your darling TV station.
For adverts and program sponsorship, contact 0803 388 8526 or 0806 883 9902. ABS, Heartbeat of the East.
Right, you're welcome back to the live studios of Good Morning, Anambra, where we are looking at financial institutions shortchanging Nigerians. I am here with Chukwu Nonso Ekesiobi, a lecturer, an economics lecturer at Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University. And before we went on break, he was actually asking a question that sometimes you come to lay a complaint in the bank about what actually happened to maybe your account, and how many of these complaints were actually resolved properly or the way they should. These are another question, cropping the minds of Nigerians, whether these people are actually shortchanging us or not. It's been established here that actually there's exploitation in that sector. But now, I don't know. In it seems every sector in this nation is suffering, either exploitation or, either underdeveloped or underfunded or whatever. We have problem. We cannot deny that fact. Okay. Now, what do you think should be the way forward? There are some issues pending that need to be resolved, which Nigerians have brought to the banks. What are they supposed to do? And what are citizens supposed to do to see that they are not exploited by these institutions?
Well, I'm happy that the crisis, organizational crisis at the central bank has been resolved. Because for some time, trying to move from the immediate past CBN governor to this current administration, and I heard that the sanitation took place even within, where some top executives, directors, were changed. So now that it's as if the central bank has, stabilized, I think it's high time they begin to look at these banks. And it's good that they started off with the recapitalization. Yeah, and so that's the first step. So make banks, sit up, because as if they have become so comfortable on their achievements so far. So beyond that, they should look at the kind of policy regulation that is going on in the banks should be strengthened, so that it goes beyond giving people phone numbers. Yes, the central bank does that. Give people phone numbers, email addresses. If you have any problem, tell us. But that message should be intensified. I know it because of the level I am operating. Does the average woman in the market at a corker or those in a main market, do they know about it? That if you have a problem and I've approached this
one
bank,
thing is laying complaints. Another thing is
then at least
responding
increase the number of, because people are just moving around with bitterness about one bitter experience they've had with one bank or the other. So bring out the message, intensify the message that, look, if you have any problem and you have approached the bank and they fail to resolve it, or you are not satisfied with the way it was being handled, send it to us. There's also this Consumer Protection Council we have in the country. Explore those kind of these things. Then what about our policies at promoting financial inclusion? Instead of having people exit the financial system, it should be the opposite. What are we doing to intensify a situation where people will feel confident bringing their money into the economy? It's not just enough to say you want to go cashless, for instance. We had that as a policy. But for the cashless thing to work, one, it must be convenient. I don't need to, it must be convenient. It's something I can do easily. Without having one network issue, or maybe the server is down or something, and you need to make a quick financial transaction. And when you go to the bank, they tell you, go outside, go and do this, go and do that. Convenience is important. Then again, is the availability. Anytime I need it, can it be done? That's why they frustrate you to the point where if you need money, the cashless policy does not mean no cash. It means little cash. So it means that cash is still accepted as a legal tender, a medium of exchange. So when you need cash, can you get cash in the banks now? It's the same banks that will tell you to go and meet POS operators. So who are the people that own these POS operators? I bet you, if you do your fact finding, you find out that like more than 50% of the POS operators are they are backed by people who work inside these banks. So they make this cash, instead of making it available to customers now, they go to POS operators, they give it out to POS operators, and when you come, they tell you no cash, and some will even have the effrontery to tell you, go across the road, go to this person, or I will give you somebody's number that runs a POS so you can call, and so that the person will make interest from those charges the POS operators make, because they know they cannot make that charges in the bank. So it is still bank. This is another issue of shortchanging. It's still bank operators that run most of these POS services you see outside. So how then do we put it? Nobody is saying that. I'm not saying POS operators are bad. No, that thing has created jobs, immense jobs, because again the lack of data. If not, we are supposed to be talking about this. We're supposed to have data on what kind of jobs are these people, the kind of jobs it has provided. So I'm not against it, but we should be done the proper way. So we don't create a problem while trying to solve another problem. Then you talk of, I've mentioned the proper regulation. Even amongst the banks themselves, you should be talking about more transparency. If at the point of opening an account, for instance, it should be made mandatory that you inform the customer what are the charges.
Even those at the point of making policies, to be truthful to themselves.
Yes, that they should, for instance, tell the person, look at the charges that you should expect in this account too. So you know ahead of time.
Before opening?
Yes, before opening. Then once in a while you communicate with your customers. How do you feel? How do you this? Look at the charges we have been making and look at why. Look at the monies. Look at where the monies, these charges are being, where these charges are going to.
Now, for want of time, do you think, or don't you think this CUDA or whatever, money point or pay, don't you think it's going to have its own effect on our normal banking sector if nothing is done on their part?
Now,
to curtail the complaints of Nigerians?
I want to ask. There's another question I want to ask. Why is it that you want to make transactions with these normal banks, their apps, and it's always kind of difficult?
Glitches.
And their POS. But when you pick this money point and these other ones, their POS, as soon as you put it, it goes. So you are now asking, is it that these people don't want to invest in their technology?
In other words, if they don't do anything.
Yes, if they don't do anything, these guys will take over the thing from them now. Then you talk of, they have ATMs. How many of the ATMs now are funded?
Okay.
Wow.
All right, we can go on and on, but I think that's the much time could allow us to take on the program for now. It's been established that actually financial institutions are shortchanging Nigerians, and when complaints are laid, in the banks, nothing is done, or even when something is done, is not resolved properly. So these are the things they need to look into to see that they don't go into extinction sooner or later. Change they said is one thing that is constant. So let's be careful, bankers and even the people, to know what actually we are doing in this nation. Would like to appreciate you so much, Chukwunonso, for being here this morning, despite your challenges. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on Good Morning Anambra Show for today. We'd like to thank you all, the crew members, and of course, let's do this again tomorrow. It's a goodbye from here.